Hello.
You must have been a good student in school, Rebecca. You're taking good notes.
Yes, I have. That's my learning style. I have to write it down and review
That's
it
for
often.
anything these days. I can't go anywhere without my notes.
Armando's learning style is just ignore it.
I'm learning all these things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Charles is here.
I
Hey,
am
Charles.
Here's
finally
Yes.
at long last.
Yeah, we saw for about
Is it
5
me?
minutes.
Is it me? Is it me, Charles, or does your beard look thicker?
No, I shaved the sides of it.
Oh, that's
I
why.
left,
Okay.
I left this
Yeah.
part alone.
All right.
Yeah,
Looks
it's
nice.
growing.
Looks very nice. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think you're dead ringer for Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I'm
Santa baby.
this is more Viking than Santa, but you know, whatever. I'm actually trying to close the window right now and I can't do it. You know, this little computer that I'm on is just slower than anything. I mean, it's crazy. It's just,
Well,
come on.
I'm a slow.
Rebecca had her notes. She told
Before
everybody.
Charles got here, we went through
Well,
all that.
that would be the question, yes. Or were you listening? Okay, but all right.
No, it's not about.
He's talking about a few minutes ago.
comprehending.
He said a few minutes ago, we were discussing that before you came on.
Yeah, but okay. So my question is, Armando, what is your question?
There you
What do you
go.
want to know?
Because I have yesterday I was helping somebody with the problem. I couldn't listen all that thing that you was playing. You gave them a list about value, hue, tint, tone, what mean each thing. So I hear now listen Rebecca mention it, so I tried to make notes.
Okay, all right. So rather than telling me what happened yesterday, what do you want to know?
On the list of those things, what they mean, all those terms.
Well,
Just repeat yesterday's as for Armando.
let's do the whole thing. Okay,
I'm a slow learner.
okay.
Put it that way.
Armando,
You're
Yeah.
a thorough learner, not
Have
a
you-
slow learner. Thorough.
have you got a pen?
Yes.
Good. I want you to write this down. And anybody else who didn't get this yesterday. All right, let's start with value. Okay, what we're talking about is, all right, first thing, write down, there are, Armando, pay attention.
Yes. Yeah.
1,
5.
2, 3, 4, 5. 5 types of contrast. Okay. And the reason those are important is that they will help you create the sense of depth and volume in your painting. So if, let's say that you're painting somebody's face, it's not going to look flat, it's going to look round, okay? So those 5 things are as follows. The first thing is value. V-A-L-U-E, value, okay? All value means is how light or how dark a color is. How light or how dark. It could be any color, doesn't matter. But you take any of those colors and it's how light or how dark they are. The next one is hue, H-U-E. Okay. And all hue means is what color is it? And it can only be one of 6 colors because, Armando, there are no more colors. There's only 6. Okay? Red.
All right, wait a second. So that's red, blue, yellow, black, white, and
No.
what's 6?
No,
No.
it's the secondary, it's the primary and secondary colors. So it's red, yellow, and blue,
Red, yellow, and blue.
green, violet, and orange.
Oh, great. Okay, that's easy to remember.
Yes, it's going to be one of those 6. Okay,
Okay.
now, what happens if it's gray?
It's a combination.
No. If it's gray, it's still probably one of those colors. All right. And there's going to be one of them who is a stronger influence than any others, right? But you may not be able to actually determine whether it's a blue or whether it's a green. You know, it might be, well, it's kind of bluish, it's kind of greenish. I'm not really sure. You know. But it's going to be one of those 6 colors. That's a hue, right?
Okay.
And just in case you're wondering, since you brought them up, white and black are not colors.
All right, so one is the absence of color and one is the presence of
Presence
all
of
colors.
all colors.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's what Sir Isaac Newton found when he did the prism,
Right.
that the prism was broken into a series of colors and that white was the absence of color.
Right. No. Black was the absence of color.
Oh,
White is the presence of all color.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, I had that backwards too.
No, the
Yeah,
other
but
one.
you said it was the opposite
Yeah,
way.
I
too.
had that back. Mhm.
The
Yeah.
black was all colors.
Huh?
I thought black was all
thought
colors
so.
and white was the
Now,
absence of
Well,
colors.
hold on. Okay. All right. What was Isaac Newton? What was Isaac Newton working with?
A prism.
Right. But what was coming through the prism? Was it pigment or was it light?
It was different shades of light.
Well, no, it was just light, right? And there's only one kind of light, right? But then when it goes through a prism, it breaks it down into all the color components of it. Okay. And that's why I said, okay, now, see, we're not talking about pigment. We're talking about light. So if you have all colors of light together,
Okay, yeah.
then it's white. Okay. If you filter some of those out, you might get another color, light. Okay. If you have the absence of all those colors, basically you're in the dark. It's black.
So black is the absence of light.
Well, it's the absence of all colors in the light.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So why is it when you add the colors together, they make the black?
Now wait. You see, we're
Oh,
talking
because we're looking at light, not at
Two
color.
different, light versus pigment.
yeah. Now, remember yesterday, we talked about 2 different ways of looking at color.
Right.
There's the additive, right? Which if it's additive, we're talking about light. If it's subtractive, we're talking about pigments. And when I'm talking about mixing colors together in this class, I'm not talking about mixing light together. I'm talking about pigments. So we're basically working with the subtractive, process. Okay. And in that case, if you add red, yellow, and blue together in the proper proportion, you will get black.
Right.
Okay.
It is counterintuitive though.
It is. Yeah. It's very easy to get confused. All right. Anyway, Armando. So
Yeah.
hue. It's one of those 6 colors. It's either a primary or a secondary color. All right. Now there are other colors out there. There are blue greens and things like that. But basically, for all intents and purposes, you know, when you're talking about looking at a color, you're going to break it down into, oh, it's an orange, or it's a red, or it's a blue, or a purple, or a green, or a yellow, or an orange. You know, it just keeps it simple that way. All right, so the next thing is intensity. Okay. Oh, no, let's back up just 1 second. Okay, with hue, all hue actually means, and they're interchangeable words, okay? You can call something a hue, H-U-E, or you can call it a color. Okay. Both of those words mean the exact same thing. Another word saying color. Color is easier to say for me. At any rate, so intensity. Intensity, and you'll hear people talk about it as far as the chroma of a color. Chroma and intensity mean the same thing, all right? So don't let that get you confused. You know, if there's an artist that you're watching a video and they're talking about it's a high chroma, they're just talking about the intensity of the color. All right, so intensity, all that means is how pure the color is. Okay. And you can have very, you know, high intensity means it's pretty much so the color that you're going to get straight out of the tube. Or, you know, a muted color is something that you've mixed down, right, and modified in some way so that it's grayed down and it's not as strong, you know, as it was when it first came out of the tube. That everybody grasp that concept?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. After that, we have temperature. Okay. All temperature means is in comparison to everything else around it, is that color mixture that you're looking at, would you say that it would be warmer, or would you say that it looks cooler? Okay.
Mhm.
Now I want to point something out to you. A lot of times you'll hear people talk about like red, yellow, and orange being warm colors, right? And you'll hear people talk about blue, green, and violet being cool colors. Okay, that's kind of a generalization. In reality, when you start mixing colors and putting them up, you know, on your painting, sometimes those purples can be warmer than maybe your yellows or your oranges. Okay. And that's why you have to keep in mind when you're talking about temperature, it's always relative. It's in comparison to what's around it. Okay. Because you can have warmer blues and you can have cooler blues. You can have cooler reds and warmer reds. And same thing with yellow and every other, you know, all 6 of those colors, you can modify them so that they're warmer or cooler than other things around them. Okay. So that's temperature. And it's always comparative, right? You know, you're never going to say this yellow is warm. Well, it is maybe where you're seeing it. You put it next to something else and it may not be. Okay. So it's always this yellow is warmer than this red. Okay. Or this yellow is warmer than this gray. So it's always a comparison when you're talking about temperature. And the same is really true with intensity as well. You know, this particular red over here is more intense than the red over here. Okay, so it's a comparison. And then the last but not least, okay, and this is the one that really throws everybody, but it's hard and soft edges. Okay. Hard and soft edges. So
I didn't get it.
you didn't get what? Hard and soft edges?
Hard or soft?
Hard, yes, or soft edges. Now, a lot of you, when we start talking about the edge of something, the first thing you think of is like, you got a drawing of, like a vase or something like that, and you're looking at the outline, okay? Now, true, that edge could be very crisp, but also that edge, could be very soft or blurry. But let's say that I want to pull, say, the middle part of that vase, it's nowhere near the edge forward. When I put a highlight on it or something like that, if I leave a sharp edge on that paint stroke, see, that's going to pull that forward. If I soften that paint stroke, then it's going to push it back. See? So edges can occur not just at the edge of a boundary of an object, but actually on the object itself. And it's how you put the paint down. Like, for example, if we're looking at John's sky behind him, right? There's some areas like, over here by the clouds, where the cloud is white. Whoop, okay. That it gets very soft. But over here in the red area, there's some very sharp edges in there.
Mhm.
So, it can also be the edge of the paint stroke too. So just, when we're talking about edges, there's more than one kind of edge. So did that jump off into the deep end of the water for you, Armando?
Yeah, thank you for the explanation.
Okay. Yeah. Now, in all fairness, I could give about a 4 to 6 week class in any one of those. Okay. Yeah. So, there's enough information and enough, a variety of exercises and things that you can do to improve your skill in each one of those areas. And it would take you about a 4 to 6 week period of time to really pick up those concepts and really see what you can do with it. Okay. So,
Charles, this is Gwen. You think you're going to offer those courses?
well, we kind of do it already, just a little bit at a time. Because I don't know that anybody wants to just sit and concentrate on edges for 6 weeks. That would probably drive them crazy.
Well, with COVID, we've got the time.
Yeah. But we do, we talk about them all the time. And, the thing is, if you're just kind of like today, when we're doing critiques and we're looking at people's work and, I'm talking about a value change or a temperature change or something like that, you can pick up a lot of that information, just in those discussions without really having to focus on a class itself. The main thing is if you get the basic concepts, and then you spend the time actually working and painting, you're going to come across situations, in the process of painting that you're going to go, aha, okay, I see that. I see that if I, you know, the way I lay that paint down into this other wet paint, and it doesn't make a sharp edge that is kind of soft and fuzzy, that, you know, I can create a soft edge. Or that if I use thicker paint and lay one color on top of another without blending it, then I can create a hard edge, you know, on my paint stroke. So, you know,
So is there a rule that says you do it, you know, as you are developing the painting or after?
well, yeah, that's why it's called an art. You know, you've got to juggle all. That's why you've got to juggle all 5 of those at once, either consciously or unconsciously. You know, I mean, you know, basically, you're gonna, you know, when you put something up there on a canvas, or you make a mark or you make a paint stroke, you know, you're gonna look at it and go, okay, does that look right or does that not look right? And if it doesn't look right, then you got to figure out what's wrong with it. And I can guarantee you it's going to be one of those 5 things.
Right.
You know, it's the wrong value. It's either too intense or not intense enough. It might be the wrong color family. It might be, you know, that the edge is too hard, too soft. Or it might be that the temperature is completely off. It just doesn't seem to fit within that area. Okay.
And all of the above.
And or all of the above. It could be 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, all at once.
Thank you.
It's kind of a brain tease. But you know, since we're kind of talking about that anyway, has anybody ever had the experience of you mix up a color and you put it down on the painting and you look at it and you know it's not right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And it either looks like, you know, you would call it that, or you would kind of refer to it as being kind of chalky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or you would
Yes.
refer to it as being kind of muddy. Oh, I don't like the color. It looks kind of muddy.
Mhm.
Okay. Can anybody tell me, what does that really mean? If you-
Chalky is kind of too much white
Right.
in it. It's just too flat looking color.
Okay. How
And
about muddy?
Muddy is probably over mixing your colors to where you get too much of what you're not supposed to get in there. That's kind of the way I think about it.
Okay.
for
I want you to
sure.
write this down. Okay. This will save your lives more than anything else in the world. Okay. If a color is too chalky, okay, that means that the temperature is too cool for everything around it. And you can fix it by just warming the color up a little bit. So let's say you had this kind of bluish color and it went down and it looked really chalky. You could just add a little kind of orange or yellow or even red to it. Just a little tiny bit. And I mean a tiny, tiny bit. You don't want to change the color completely.
Wait. The temperature is too hot for everything around it.
Yeah,
Too cool.
if the color looks chalky, that means that color is too cool.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And so you can warm it up and it won't look chalky anymore. If it's too muddy, that means that the color is too warm for the area around it. And all you have to do is add a little bit of a cooler temperature to it. And all of a sudden it will harmonize again. Okay. Sounds simple enough, doesn't it?
Yeah, but a little confusing too, because I remember you mentioning that softer colors and harder colors, it depends on where you're
You
using them.
warmer
So
or
I'm going to
cooler
use
colors?
a yellow or red
Uh-huh.
because the color I'm using is too chalky. how do I determine if that red is
Well, then that
soft
means,
or hard?
well, it's not about soft or hard. It's about whether
Okay.
it's whether it's too warm or too cool.
Warm and too cool, yeah.
And if a color is chalky, that means that you have the color, the temperature of it.
How spell
cool.
chalky?
Say what?
How spell chalky?
Chalky. Chalky.
Chalky. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
WH?
Huh?
WH?
No, not double H. CHALKY. Chalky.
Why? Chalky. Okay, got it. Okay.
CHALK.
Oh, about shark. Okay.
Yeah, like
Chalk.
chalk,
So
right?
Charles,
Chalk. Yeah, chalk. Chalky. Okay.
Yes,
so
one.
Charles, when you're saying that if the red that you say that like you use blue as an example, it would be chalky. You said you would either add yellow or red to take the chalkiness away.
Yeah, yeah, you could. Yeah, but just a little tiny bit.
Little tiny bit.
Yeah. Now, a lot of times, by the time that you hear that the color is too chalky in an area or something like that, the paint is already dry.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, not uh-oh. That's actually a good thing. Because guess what?
And over.
No, that's where you learn how to put on a glaze
Okay.
or a wash. You know, if the color is too chalky, you just, then maybe you take just a little tiny bit of orange and you thin it way down to where it's just, you can barely see kind of a little bit of a tint of orange in the water if you're mixing acrylics or something like that, and you just wash over it. And that little bit of orange will warm that up and it won't be chalky anymore. It will fall back into, being harmonious with the colors around it.
That's in using acrylics.
Yeah, if you're using
Or
oil,
put
the
in
same thing.
oil.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Well, you don't mix it with water, you mix it with,
Right,
turpentine. It works the same way though.
yeah. Oh,
See, but that's where glazing, really comes in to being really valuable. Because all you're doing, when you're at that last stage of the painting and you're glazing things, all you're doing is just making very slight adjustments to it. Say, just kind of tweaking it, a little bit. And, so you don't need to sit down and mix up a whole new color and start slapping more opaque paint on there. You can just,
okay.
just
Glaze.
kind of push it a little cooler, push it a little warmer. See if you need to, okay?
Charles,
Yeah,
would you please go over the details of the assignment about drawing the circles and what you want in each circle, please?
we're gonna have a repeat of yesterday's class, aren't we? Okay,
That's what it sounds like.
Sorry.
well, that's what we've done so far. And we are, well, I did get here late, but we're 30 minutes into this already.
Okay, skip that and go on to the other stuff.
No, fine. Okay, so 3 circles the same size, okay, in a line. Make them the same height,
Right.
okay? The first one is in value only, okay? So you're gonna make maybe, take a black and white and make a series of grays, and you're gonna paint that sphere so that it looks 3-dimensional, turn form with it, right? In value. The next sphere, or at least one of those 3, is going to be value and temperature, or I know, intensity, okay? So that means that to those grays, you might have to add a little bit of color. Could be any color, could be purple, could be yellow, could be blue, could, any one you want, okay? But at some point, you're going to use the intensity, the shift in intensity, to again help enhance that feeling of volume and weight and roundness. And then the third is all three: value, intensity, and temperature. And you saw an example of that yesterday in that little video that we watched.
Value, intensity, and
Temperature.
Temperature.
Yeah. So see, you know, I mean, you know, you're going to take the easier one first and just do value. And then after you do value, you know, then you can work with the others. And I hate to give away, you know, the process of doing this. But probably the easy way to do it is to paint 3 spheres in value, right? And then again with washes or glazes, right? On one of them, you could, you know, just do a glaze over the sphere. And, you know, at one point, you know, have a little more influence of the color that you're glazing with so that it's more intense than the rest of it. And then you could do that with the next sphere, and then get a complementary color, you know. Let's say that you use violet, you know, maybe you could use yellow. And with a couple of glazes of yellow in the right place, again, you could have a contrast of not only value and intensity, but also temperature on that same sphere. And that would complete your assignment.
And so this was directed toward painting. What about using colored pencils?
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because what do you do with color pencil?
You layer it, I know that,
Right, just
to
like you
make it
would
more
layer,
intense.
just like you would layer paint.
Right.
So again, you could start off with 3 spheres that are, you know, gradations of light to dark value, you know, laid down in such a way that they begin to look like they're 3-dimensional and have form. And to one of those, you could add some intensity in, you know, a small area. And the other, you can add that same intensity, but then, you know, pick a complement to it. And did anybody notice, you know, when we're talking about, does everybody know what a complementary color is?
Next to it,
No,
beside it?
no, it's directly across from it on the color wheel.
Oh,
Okay, that's a complementary color. So if your color is red, the complement to that is green. If your color is yellow, then the complement is violet. If your color is orange, then the complement is blue.
does that mean like the opposite color?
Yes, yeah, the one that's opposite. That's the complementary color to it. They call it complementary contrast. Okay, now did anybody notice anything about those combinations?
No.
No?
They're primary and secondary colors.
Yes, they're primary and secondary, but what else?
Oh, okay.
Put them all together and you get black?
But we're not going there. Come on.
Oh,
Try
I don't know. I don't know. I'm listening.
No, but
Try
okay.
it.
analogous?
No, in each of those cases, one would be considered warmer, one would be considered cooler, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's never 2 warm colors across from each other. One is warmer, one is cooler. In any of those combinations. Okay. So what does that tell you about the temperature of them? It's right there.
Lukewarm, lukewarm.
The warmer colors are next to each other and the cooler colors are separate.
Well, yeah, it's in any kind of complementary contrast, you're going to have warmer and cooler temperatures.
There's any book that has that I can read or buy. I have to read that. All this thing they are talking today.
Yes, there are many books about color. Okay.
Google it.
No, I mean, seriously, I mean, you know, and I'm not saying that lightly. No, there's tons of books on nothing other than about color and color theory, right? You know, that little video that we watched the other day, though, you know, she talked about a lot of different color strategies, right?
That was very good. Yeah, that was good.
Like complementary colors, analogous colors, dyads, triads, you know, things like that. You know, and you know, there are books that are written all about that. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of them out there, but you know, do you need to get a whole book on color? You know, because it doesn't matter what book you get. It's one of those subjects that it won't go far enough. It will just begin to give you kind of a little bit of a hint, and then the rest of it you're going to have to learn by actually mixing color. Because at the end of the day, there's only one way to learn about color.
Using
Just one.
Do it.
Yeah, which means that you have to get a paintbrush out and actually paint. You know, all the theory in the world will, you know, is nice, but you know, you actually got to put it in practice. And as you do that, you learn. You know, you'll pick up very quickly. If I put orange with this blue over here, I'm going to get a gray. If I put this green and this red together, I'm going to get a brown. You know, if I put this purple and this yellow, I'm going to get again kind of a grayish, kind of almost mustardy looking color, right? So, you know, mix, you know, just basically mix lots of color. And that's how you're going to learn about it. I promise you, you won't learn unless you start playing with paint. Anything else? We got a whole 12 of us here today. Yay! All right. Are we ready to move on? Are we ready to look at some artwork? Yes? No?
Today's class, yes. Yes.
Okay, all right. So first of all, let me say hi, Ilan, Gwen, Eloise, Wanda, Rebecca, Bernice, Armando, Bob, June, John, and Elsie is here as well. Yay!
Hi, Charles.
Veronica's not here today.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a 12. That's good. And me, of course. Okay, so let's start looking and see what you guys sent in. So we're going to start sharing. You gonna work with me today? Come on. I'm waiting. It's thinking about it. There we go.
Hey, I know that
Now
picture.
it's Wanda.
Wow.
We have no idea who these people are.
And I don't know who else.
I know one of them.
Yeah.
That's me, Wanda,
Yes.
my mother in the center and my sister on the left.
Yes.
Oh, what a sweet picture.
This is mom and her daughters. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. So
How old is mom?
She'll be 90 in February.
Oh,
Wow.
my goodness.
okay.
That's terrific.
All right. So now this is Wanda's reference photo. Yeah. And then this is actually now this is, you said it was pastel. Is it
It's
pastel chalk?
charcoal pastel.
Charcoal,
And
oh,
where the
charcoal,
lines are,
charcoal
pastel
and
charcoal,
pastel. Okay,
no, it's charcoal pastels. It's not, it's charcoal in colors.
uh-huh,
I found at Staples.
huh,
And where
okay.
the lines are at, that's where the frame is going to be at on the, I'm not finished with it yet. I just
Yeah,
started. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So everything outside that is, will be matted out.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you said you're not done with this.
No, I just wanted to show it to you because I hadn't shown you anything in quite a while.
Okay,
And I'm working on this now. It's one of the things I'm working on.
all right. So would it be okay if I ask you a couple of questions about it?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So the question I have, okay, so this is your drawing, okay? And I'm gonna go back and refer to the photo
Okay,
just for a minute, okay?
okay.
So when I look at the photo, obviously, there's a lot of transitions of color and value across your face, across your mom's face, and across your sister's face. When I look at the drawing, and again, I understand it's early, okay?
Yeah.
Early on. How much are you going to actually do to try to render the form in the faces? Or are you going to leave it
Well,
more lineal?
That's a question I had asked myself, and I think I'm gonna go back with some darker charcoal and try to put those shadings in there so they have some dimension to the faces and not just flat like that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know the range of colors that you have.
Okay.
But yeah, changing the value
Mhm.
is, would be, I think, useful to begin to get this sense of form, in your faces. And you can also use the value change between, say, keeping your sister's face overall lighter in value than her neck. See, that would push her head forward. So you'd push the neck back. Same thing under your neck a little bit. Just, a slight change in value, could really help, separate those things.
Okay. Yeah.
The problem in doing something like this is you want to do it carefully and you want to do it slowly, because
Mhm.
it would be really easy to overwork and overstate the value. So you've got to kind of hold back and just come up on it real slowly. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Sorry to leave, have doctor's appointment. We'll try to return class. Okay. All right. So yeah, Rebecca had to duck out. She had to go to a doctor's
Okay.
appointment. Okay. But that being said, all right. What kind of paper are you working on?
This is a mixed media paper that you can use watercolor, or you can use acrylics and charcoal. So it's a little rough.
Yeah. All right. But now you're using all dry medium, right? You're not going to add anything wet to this.
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. So yeah, the thing you're going to probably struggle with more than anything else here is I think you'll be okay in trying to round out the forms in the face, but trying to get that hair dark enough overall.
Yeah.
And the fact is that the hair is not all the same value.
Right.
It changes.
Yeah.
And you're going to need some kind of change, which means you're going to lose some of the texture that you've got in there. because it's going to fall into the dark and you're not going to see it. Where in the
Okay.
midtone and light, you might retain it.
Yeah.
But you're going to have that change in value to make that feel like it's got, you know, volume and weight in there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, when you look at the reference. Okay. Now your hair is
Mhm.
fairly light, but notice how dark it gets over here.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you see it changes value, you know, and the light in this particular case is coming from, I would imagine, a window or something, you know, over behind you,
Yes.
you know, back over here, you know, to our left. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, because the light, you know, the side, your whole side plane of your face is lit up. Your
Okay.
sister's front plane of her face is lit up because she's facing the window. And your mom, for the most part, it's the right side of her face and the right side of her nose, the orbit of her mouth and her chin that are all catching the light, like right through here.
Okay. Yes.
So,
Yes.
and then see it begins to get a little more color and get a little bit darker as it moves to the edge. Same thing here from the bridge of the nose. It begins just a little bit darker, you know, and get a little more color again as it moves to the other edge of the face. So
Okay. I see. Mhm.
that's going to give you that sense of volume in there. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now let me ask you this: when you're asking me if I was going to put anything wet on the pictures, I know that this paper can take acrylic paint, so I should use that to maybe show in the hair, so that I can still have the texture look of the braids.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No,
Okay. Okay.
no. I mean, I think you know, I don't know exactly what you're working with.
Mhm.
But you know, if it gives you a range of color and stuff, you should be able to pull that off and just keep it as dry medium. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Mhm.
You know, if you were going to do this as a mixed media piece, then you know, I probably would have had you put down the wet stuff first and then draw over it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So let's look at your next piece,
Okay.
which is really quite nice. And this is on a canvas.
No, that's on a mixed media paper.
Okay.
We were doing a profile, a silhouette,
Mhm.
and she wanted us to use material with it also. So I made the scarf with material,
Right.
and
And then
the
these are
background is
actually
watercolors.
three-dimensional, right?
Yes, yes, those are the feather, and those are little gold. You know those clasps you put on to keep paper together, and then they bend open.
Oh, okay.
That's what those are. Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right.
But the background is watercolors. The silhouette originally was watercolor, but it wasn't dark enough, so then I put acrylic on it.
Okay. All right. And so you got a paper background, and this is fabric, right?
Yeah, the headdress is fabric.
Okay. So, so this is a piece of paper. So you're going to end up having to put it under a piece of glass.
Yeah, if I decide to do that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you were going to finish it and frame it and stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
it would have to be under glass to protect it. I guess my question is, are you going to leave this pattern in the background, or are you going to try to flatten that out, or what's your thought about that?
I like that design there like that. I like that.
Okay. Yeah, because it's, you know, it looks like it could be like stone, like, you know, sedimentary layers of rock or something. It could also be, you know, like a piece of fabric with like a tie-dyed or some kind of dyed fabric I've seen.
One of those shades of taffeta. That's what I thought it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Not taffeta catches light in that strange way like that sometimes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
but
is
it-
watercolor, so I like the way it came out,
Mhm.
came together.
Okay. Yeah, I like the texture back there. You know, and looking at it, I kind of wish, you know, that the texture just kind of carried on back behind her and it didn't just get darker here
Okay.
along
yeah.
the silhouette. Yeah, it would have been nice if you could have maintained that, you know, all the way kind of through.
See, yeah.
But hey, we can't do that now.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't know whether you're going to come back in with more layers of color back here or not. Right now, you know, the values work, you know, really nicely because overall, even though this is a very warm temperature, you know, it still sits back behind her because of the crisp edge, you know, on the silhouette of the face and the contrast. So it's working really well right now. I guess, were you going to put any kind of indication of light or anything on, you know, some of the planes of the face, or are you just going to leave it totally flat?
Like, that's what she wanted us to do. She just wanted to leave it as a silhouette and not
Okay.
do anything else to it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you could do it either way, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, it's a nice piece. Moving on though, we have this lovely flower. Okay. Now this is a lily, right?
Well, we don't know what kind of flower that was. It was a picture that she had, and so we just, you know, did the picture, and we didn't know what kind of flower it was.
Well, I don't know, you know,
Some kind of
I'm not
hybrid or
a,
something.
yeah, I'm not a gardener, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me of like a, what they call a stargazer lily.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, I should have sent a reference with this one.
yeah. You know, it could also be a Cahaba lily as well. One of those types that grow over in the Cahaba River, because they have these really weird kind of appendages that kind of shoot up.
Okay.
You know, and these, you know, these kind of intermediate things as well.
Okay.
And they're based on a 5 and 5 pattern as well.
Mhm.
So,
And this was all charcoal also.
okay. All right. Now you keep talking about she, okay? So who is she?
That's Nicole, I think her last name is Smith.
Okay,
She's over at Darnell.
right. Oh, okay. She's at Darnell. She's not at Bowden. There's Benson, Bowden, Darnell,
I think she's at Mills.
Mills.
Oh, she's
that's
at
it.
Mills. Okay, I just took her that she was from Darnell. Okay,
Okay,
so she's at Mills.
Yeah, Mills. Yeah. Okay. All right. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she's fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have her.
Yeah.
Okay. So what can you tell me about her?
Well, this is when I first started getting into my watercolor pens. And
Okay.
I was just seeing how effects, you know, it would make and things like that. And so I made this picture.
Okay. Now, is this on the mixed media paper or is this on
No,
canvas?
that's on canvas. That's on canvas.
Okay, yeah, because let's say, you know, you pick up a lot of the weave, you know, in the texture of the canvas as well. Okay. All right. Well, it's a fun little piece.
Yeah.
I guess.
I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun. Just knowing
Yeah.
how to get some colors on canvas and
Yeah, the only thing well, there's two little things that I see here, and it's the intensity of the color here versus the other side of the sweater, which is not. And it's like, I want to see a little bit of that over here, you know, a little bit richer, darker color.
yeah.
And it doesn't have to, you know, this is not even and flat and straight, you know, but just, you know, little bits of more intense color over in there.
Okay.
They kind of balance it out. And the other thing is the eyes. You know, try to make them closer to doing, you know, similar things. Because if I cover up the eye on the right, you know,
Mhm.
then she's looking straight ahead. If I cover up the eye on the left, then she's kind of looking slightly to the
Down a
left.
little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it might be just, you know, kind of push if you had white or something like that, or if you could lift
Mhm.
that area right there, just lift that little dark back
Okay.
so that, you know, the eye kind of shifted over to the same direction that the other eye is moving in. Okay?
Okay. Mhm. Thank you.
All right. And then, oh, we're not done. Okay.
Oh, pointillism.
Well, yes, it looks a little bit like pointillism, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Okay.
I remember this painting that I did because I did this in like 2020. I did this. And then
Okay.
you all were talking about that the other day. I said, oh, I remember doing a painting like that. So I pulled it out and
Okay. Yeah. In this particular case, you know, I don't know that you would really call this pointillism.
Mhm.
You know, you're definitely using like, you know, dots of color, but the dots of color are not combining to really influence the color of, you know, this shape, for example, or this shape. They kind of spread out
Okay.
and
Yeah.
they look more like a pattern.
Okay.
But this,
Yeah.
you know, this is a really fun piece. I guess my question is, so what inspired you to put the dots all over everything? Why did you do that? What were you thinking?
It was just something that I wanted to do. It was just, you know how I like color and doing all kind of different degrees of stuff, and that it just came to me to do it. So, you know, I liked it.
Yeah. Well, you got some, you know, you got some really lovely color in there. Now, this is watercolor?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, you know, particularly like in this area, this gradation transition right here, it's really, really nice. And I kind of wish, you know, that, you know, the composition was a little taller
Oh,
so that you could see the edge of the hat and you could see how the color back here kind of wraps around and then transitions into this more neutral area, right?
okay. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something. And this is for everybody, okay? This is called Stump the Class.
That ain't hard.
All right, I want you to look at the right-hand side of this painting, and then I want you to look at the left-hand side of this painting. And I want you to tell me which one is more intense.
Oh,
Left or right?
left hand.
Right,
Left.
right side?
Nope, left.
Yeah, the left
Dark
side
side.
is more intense, okay?
Yep.
Closer to being a purer color.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, which one is warmer in temperature?
That's the right side.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the right side. Yeah.
The right side is overall warmer in temperature than the left side.
Mhm.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
Because it's the one color. Is that why?
no.
No.
Now, if you look at the influence, okay, this is a very kind of neutral, kind of greenish gray, right? Now, these blues and violets and things, even this brown right here, are all considerably more intense in color than this. Okay. But when we're starting to talk about temperature and compare the temperatures, this, you sort of see the yellow or the orange influence in here, which seems to be more dominant than and warmer than anything over here. And so this is actually a warmer temperature than all of this very bright color. Okay. Now, my question is the skin tones, not the blues and reds, not the dots, but the actual kind of gold sort of color thing here. Between the skin tones and between the background, which is warmer in temperature?
The skin.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I'd
Yeah.
agree with that. Okay. And then when we look at the hat overall versus the background, is the hat warmer or cooler than this very neutral gray?
Warmer.
Cooler.
cooler.
Warmer.
I would say overall, the hat's generally warmer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
including, and I know, see, this is the thing that's going to throw you. This blue green right here
Yeah.
Yeah.
is still warmer in temperature than this.
One, they did that on purpose.
It's what?
Well, my guess is you probably did not, but it worked out. Okay. But it was nice that it worked out that way. I mean, you've got, now, the reason I'm pointing that out to you is that if you think about the area that has the highest degree of contrast, right? This head, including the hat, has more contrast than anything else in the painting.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, because let's look at the different kinds of contrast that we have, right? We definitely have contrast in value, right? Because we got some very light areas against some very dark areas. The skin tones tend to be a middle value, okay, against these darks. And then, of course, the middle value against this big dark back here. The hat itself, the colors tend to be a lot more intense than, say, this background back here. They also tend to be more intense than the colors back here as well, even though they're very similar. The hat seems to have more intensity. The other thing is that when we're looking at edges, there's a lot, there's a lot of sharper edges, in the figure than there is in the background on either side.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so you see all of those contrasts begin to come together right here. And that's why that head pops forward. But
I see,
right.
yeah.
that's a fun little piece, Wanda. I like that.
Thank you. I had fun doing it too.
All right. Surin's not here. Naomi's not here, right?
All right.
Correct.
Right, wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
In India is
Haven't heard her.
yeah, India's not here.
No.
Okay, but and Rebecca's not here because she had to go to the doctor's appointment. Yeah, she left me a note about that. Anyway, this is we're gonna just look at these real quick. This is her next step in her children's book, and they're it's animal alphabet is what she's doing. As a
Nice.
sorry, Whew. I don't know where that came from. But she's got some really fun, lovely little drawings, nice compositions. So,
Nice. Oh, look at
really
that.
kind of playful, illustration.
Look at the bear.
You all snuggly and happy.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like me. There's the
Oh,
anteater.
the anteater is good.
Yeah. So, now she's doing this. It's all handwritten. But I think she does one of these and then she copies them, to give to each one of her grandchildren. So, and this is not the first book that she's done. This is probably the third or the fourth now. But she's interested in writing and illustrating children's books, as an art form, and really kind of fun, kind of imaginative, and nice, kind of simplistic, approach as far as the drawing style, things like that. So really, really nice, nicely effective, for the audience that she's trying to reach, which is young kids. So, all right.
I think she hit it on the head.
Pardon?
I think she got it down. It's really good. I like it.
So,
Very cute, very funny.
yeah. Well, she's got a long way to go. She's got quite a few more letters to do.
Okay, yeah.
But we showed the thumbnails for it just the other day. And she's got a good plan. And that's like 90% of the battle is figuring out what you're going to do. And then all you have to do is actually do it. And so she spent a good deal of time planning this out very carefully, and it shows. And the quality of the illustrations and the text and everything else is greatly improved over some of the earlier books that she had done. So yeah, it's really nice. Then we've never seen this before.
Nice job.
Not since Tuesday.
Okay.
Good, John. I like
Oh,
it.
he fixed what you told him.
Yes, he did. didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
now, and I didn't get time to go back and pull the one that he had submitted at first. I actually need to do that. Let's see if I can do that.
It was a lot lighter.
Yeah.
It's going away.
Let's.
I should have sent it with this one.
Half the picture.
Yeah, I know. That's because I moved it off the screen because I'm looking for
Oh, okay.
the other one. So we kind of look at both of them and compare them. Okay. Because otherwise,
Is this watercolor?
Yes.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Come on. There we go. There's the original reference. And there's the painting. Okay, so good. I'll open both of these up. Or wait a minute. No, maybe I won't. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take the two of them out of there. Like that. There's that. And then we'll stop sharing. Okay. All right, don't go away. I'm just playing with the computer here. Trying to get what I need up on the screen. We're getting close. We're gonna make it. I promise. I promise we will. Yeah, we don't need to open everything. Just there we go. Ta-da. Wow. Sometimes when things work, they work okay. Well, but it didn't do what I wanted to do. How come? Why did they not all open together?
Can I email it to you right now?
No, no, I've got it. I just need to. I want to open them all at all on the same window. Okay, I think it let me do it that time, right? Yay! All right, that back up there. and then come back and get you guys. And then we'll do a little share thing here. All right. Something like that. Okay, so this is where we were. Okay. Now look at that and tell me, okay, which one looks like it's brighter? You know, the light itself. Yeah, let's blow this up so it can be kind of fair. Okay, does this one look like the sky is brighter, or does this one right here?
We are seeing the same picture.
Well,
see
are they
other-
the same?
Before and after.
Wait a minute. Click on another. Oh, yeah. Okay. I see them now. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Mhm.
right. So you see, changing the values in that really made this look like, you know, either a sunrise or a sunset.
Mhm.
See, where before we saw trees and stuff like that, but you know, we weren't really sure whether that was a sunrise or sunset. It didn't look that bright, and the trees.
Could have been a forest. Could have been a forest fire.
Yeah, it could have been forest fire.
Yeah.
But it didn't really feel like, you know, sunset or sunrise. See, now he's darkened the value and kind of simplified and unified those trees together. And now all of a sudden it begins to feel like a sunrise or sunset.
I used a violet and a green to darken. Get it.
Okay, yeah, and it worked fine. Now here's the original reference, okay? You know, now, could he have pushed the trees as dark as this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could have gone further than he did, but no matter. You know, he went far enough at least so that now it really begins to feel kind of like the light coming from behind these trees rather than from the front. Okay. And a little bit of contrast like that.
I darkened the foreground a little bit too.
You mean the snow and stuff like that up here?
The trees, yeah. So it wasn't bright.
Uh-huh. You're saying the tree trunks here?
Yeah, right below them, the snow below the trees.
Oh, the snow and stuff below them? Huh.
There's some reflection of the sky.
Yeah, right. Okay, I see. Yeah, so you got a little deeper value in here as well. So you got a little more contrast in the snow as well. Okay. But yeah, the things that you did really help kind of reinforce the idea that this is a very, you know, it's a very light sky. You know, and there's a lot, even though there's a lot of color there, overall it's, you know, that's the direction of the light, you know, coming out at you. So you did a good job.
Thank you.
pulling that.
Yeah, I liked it better. I mean, I could see the difference right away as soon as I started
Mhm.
painting.
Yeah. All right. So guess what? We have Miss Bernice up next.
With a headless woman.
There is a headless woman. Okay.
She's married to the headless horseman.
Maybe they you know, hey, you know, they could go to the dance together, you know.
Yeah.
Right. You know, everybody
Like a
say,
yellow
"Look at that
gown.
lovely couple over there. Neither of them. Okay. So Bernice, tell us what's going on here.
I really started with the ladies at the beach, and I was trying to find how to do skin tones. So I actually painted this one just so I could work on the skin tones on the beach, really. And
Okay.
then when I started painting those, I thought, you know, I like them. So let me just find some dresses on the internet and put some dresses on them. You know, so I kind of found some dresses to put on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty dresses too.
Now, are you ever going to give contestant number 3 a head?
Yeah. I'm gonna get contestant number 2, some hair even.
Well, yeah, that as well, but yeah, I was just wondering, because, yeah, there's no indication so far that,
Because I had it in and I didn't like it, so I painted it back out.
oh, okay,
See that because of the acrylic paint, I just said, okay, let me put enough on it so I can get back to the color.
okay, all right. So you blocked it out, so there is something
blocked it
under
out.
there somewhere.
Mhm.
Okay,
But
well,
I think the reason I submitted it to you again, though, is because I think you said something about a lady in the middle about her skin tones.
yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Well, I'm looking at her, okay, and we need to talk a little bit about anatomy. Now, in looking at all 3 of these women, generally what I would say is that they tend to be very thin,
Yeah.
and they're
But
very,
the one in the middle is very thin?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, if if her shoulder blades are sticking out that much and that defined, then she really has a very low fat content on her body. Okay,
You mean the which one?
all 3.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Because unless you're very, very thin and you have very little, a very thin layer of fat in your skin, you're not going to see those shoulder blades quite the way, as distinctly as you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the spinal column.
Right.
So are you saying I need to mute to mute that down a little bit?
No, it's not a matter of muting. It's a matter of just softening.
Okay.
But it's not as, not as distinct as you've got it. Okay.
Okay.
And particularly
Okay.
with her, because
Okay.
there's something really kind of odd going on with her shoulder blades. They're either she's got her arms and she's pushing her arms back, but even at that, these aren't close enough, to get like a deep crease in there like that. So
She was turning kind of toward the right, and that the shoulder blade on the right would be lower than the one on the left if she's kind of leaning toward the right.
okay. But
No,
yeah,
no, she's turning toward the left. Yeah, she's turning towards the left.
the issue is this line right here and right here is that they're overstated. It's the same thing as
Okay.
see, if you just kind of soften those back a little bit,
Okay.
that, and then depending on the direction of where the light is coming from, there's probably going to be more light on the top of the shoulder than there is back here on the back. Here,
Okay.
kind of indicated that the light is right here.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's like a lot of this down here can get almost as dark as this. And then, but if you're going to do it here, you got to do it over here and here because they're all standing in the same light.
Okay.
So there's got to be some consistency there. Okay. Because on each one of them, the lighting is totally different.
Okay.
So make a decision, where's the light coming from? And if it's coming from up here, then what part of her face and head and shoulders would be in light? Same thing for her. And then the same thing for her. And then put the light down, and then the rest is in some type of shadow. Okay. Now, that being said, let's go here to the girls at the beach. Okay. And with the girls at the beach, it's a little bit easier because you see, you've either the reference and or you have picked, where the light is, which is back over here, and it's hitting, see, their shoulder.
Yeah, I did have a reference for that one at least.
Right. Yeah. And that's why the light is generally more consistent on the three of them.
Mhm.
You know, and you follow that, and that's good. Stay with that. Don't, you know, don't try to make
That's
it up.
nice,
Or,
Grace. I like that.
yeah, yeah. This is really kind of a very, very fun piece
Yeah.
to play with.
Mhm.
And as far as your flesh tones go, you know, they feel, you know, generally, you know, I mean, it all feels like flesh tone. The only thing I would say to you is that if you look at the contrast between the light and the shadow on her,
Mhm.
she's very fair skinned. Well, you're going to have the shadows do something similar over here, because your shadows are way too light to be in as intense a light as what you've got there. You see, you've got the contrast here
Mhm.
in this woman. You've got the contrast here, but you don't really have as much contrast in this figure. So these darks, the shadows, have to get just a little bit darker overall. And then they'll feel like
I thought she had the lighter skin. Lighter skin overall. So I thought the light would be lighter on her at every spot.
not necessarily, because cast shadows, you see the intensity of the light on her and on her are about the same. On her,
Okay.
not so much.
Okay.
And, you know, yes, the lights can be, you know, lighter because maybe she does have an overall lighter skin tone, right? But that's not necessarily going to make the shadows any lighter. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, you can push those shadows. I mean, this is probably, you know, close to where you need to be. You know, but
Okay.
here on the leg, you probably need, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, you have to go like dark, dark, dark like that, but you got to push this a little bit darker than you've got it.
Okay.
Particularly this.
I do that glazing you were talking about, you know,
Mhm.
kind of put it on very lightly and then add more as I go.
Yeah, just build it up slowly. Now, is this acrylic or is this water?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Acrylic.
Yeah. And so that should be fairly easy to do. Okay.
Okay.
All right. But you're getting close. I mean, you're like right there. Now, let me ask you this. Are you going to put any kind of facial features on any of these women, or are you going to just leave them kind of simple and rough?
Maybe a little more on the one on the right, but no.
Yeah.
I want to leave them kind of like, you know, you can't really see their faces. Maybe the one on the right needs a little something, but
Well,
the rest of them, no.
Not really. Now, if you did do something to the one on the right, you might bring some of the shadow up onto the face here to help describe the side plane of the head versus the front plane of the head. And so just a little bit of this, you know, from like here over would be as dark in value as this. Okay.
Okay.
And then see that head wouldn't look like a flat shape. It would turn just like this one does. You see how the light to the shadow? So you need kind of the same thing here from the shadow into the light.
And on the lady that's in the middle, I think it's some of the light places on the light places on, especially on the leg. I think I need to make it more brown. It looks red to me on the leg. Should I put a glaze of brown on that?
You're saying up here on the thigh?
That and down by the foot on the same leg. So shouldn't that be have a little more brown in it?
No, and you know, I'm looking at the light contrast between the two. Yeah, I wouldn't make it any darker. I mean, you know, kind of leave it where it's at.
Okay.
And in fact, you know, down in here, like right around the ankle and stuff, you could probably bring a very similar color, like right in here at the bottom of the calf and the leg, and that would make that calf feel rounder. Then you've got it right now.
Am I making the calf the color of the upper leg, or making the upper leg the color of the calf?
No, you see the light area on this upper leg? This,
Right.
what you call kind of red, okay?
Mhm.
Well, if, don't do the whole thing up here, but right here by the ankle,
Okay.
see if that red kind of got like right in there? See, that would make
Okay.
that calf look rounder. It would also make the foot look like it's rounder as well.
Okay.
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 Anyway, so guess what? That's all I got. That's everything everybody sent me. Okay. And it's 3:30.
Did you get my email in the reference, Charles?
I hear you. When did you send it?
Tuesday.
Well, now
Tuesday.
you were here.
Because we talk about the bird. You said that this bird looks dead on the flower.
Right. Yeah.
And the reference in
Yes.
another.
Yes,
draw.
you did. You did send me that. Okay, right. Yeah, I didn't get that into the mix. But guess what? I looked at the reference and the bird looked dead. He was laying on his back upside down on this flower. It's like, I mean, it's kind of
It's a dead bird.
It was a dead bird laying on the flower.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. The reference looks dead too.
But I mean, no, it was a dead hummingbird, laying, on the petal of this flower. And we're like, I've never seen that before, It's really kind of morbid, but that's, hey, you drew and painted what you saw.
Okay. That's okay.
When I saw the painting, I couldn't figure it out. It's like, well, why is it upside down? And it was, but it was in the photo as well. So, kind of a sad picture actually, holding a funeral for the poor little bird. I'll tell you what, since we have about 30 minutes, if you guys want to hang around, I want to show you, we didn't get to the third artist that I wanted to show you the other day, yesterday. And so I'm going to share him with you guys now. And this is, I saw a painting of his at the Chicago Art Institute, and I had no idea, who this guy was. Never heard of him before, never seen any work from him before. And speaking of, being kind of, a bit morbid, his work, his work is a little bit, it's got kind of slightly religious overtones to it. But let's take a look at it because it's weird stuff. It's beautiful, but it's weird. Okay.
What's his name?
You can be beautiful and weird at the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's close the Beach Girls.
Maurice something.
Yeah, Maurice Dennis.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I look at his stuff, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Gustav Klimt, and a little bit of trying to think. There was an illustrator, an English illustrator back in around about the 1800s. And his style looks a lot like it. But, we were talking about, pointillism. And look how he uses the color to kind of create this overall sort of, almost like a shimmering feel, because these little spots of color.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes, it's beautifully done. And really, really nice. Look at the color on the tree.
Oh, yeah.
It's now, would you say that most of the color on that tree is either tints or are they tones? Anybody?
Tones, maybe?
Yeah, a lot of them are tones because they're these kind of grayed mixtures, right?
Yeah.
Can anybody tell me what a tone is?
No.
This is like different hues or something?
Okay. All right.
Wouldn't a tone be like a glaze? You could tone a color with a glaze?
No.
No.
See,
The
I thought a
intensity
tone
of
was,
it, maybe the
I thought a
intensity
tone
of
was
it.
the grays and the blacks and the white give you the tone.
Okay. All right. Okay. Another thing you can learn today.
Okay.
Okay. Write this down.
Okay.
Tint. T-I-N-T. A tint is any color plus white.
Any color plus white?
Any color plus white makes a tint. Okay. A tone is any color plus gray.
Oh, okay.
And a shade is any color plus
Black.
black. There you go. Tint,
Shade is
tone,
what?
shade.
A shade is what?
Any color plus black makes a shade.
That's tones and shades seem to be kind of close together.
No. No. Well, I mean, yes, there can be dark value tones, but how do you make gray? You have to have black.
Black and white.
Yeah, plus
Oh,
color makes the tone, right? So it's going to be a more subdued, muted color, right? You're not going to have tones that are like really intense, right? Can't happen. So tones are, generally less intense, mixtures of gray and a color. And of course, they can be any values, light values or dark values or midtone values, okay? Where tints, can you have a dark tint? Anybody?
The dark.
Say that again.
Can you have, is there such an animal as a dark value tint?
It's possible, just depending on how much white you put with the various values of, I mean, you're never going to get any more intense than the base color.
Well, you're not,
However,
you're not going to get any darker than the base color, yeah.
darker, yes.
Darker in value than the base color. So depending on the base color you're using, right? Like if you use yellow, you're not going to get very dark with that. But if you started with
Right.
purple and you started adding white to it, you can still get a pretty dark value. With a tint of purple.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Charles, in
Yeah.
the painting, behind the woman with the dark bow around her neck, the grass is showing the flowers. I see there's a little bit of
Yeah.
darkness there. Yeah. And then the other part is not. Is that where the tint is being shown?
Well, I was talking like, for example, if I can get it over there.
Okay.
See a lot of the, like this background color of the tree is a tint.
Okay.
Obviously this dress is all a tint, other than, there's probably a bit of a tone in here. Looks like a little more gray. And this is purple,
Okay.
but it's, again, a lot of this purple is a tint. It's
I
not,
see.
it doesn't look like it has any gray, it's just purple and white. But the purple is dark enough that you know, you can still get a darker value there.
Mhm.
Now, are these tints? They don't look like they have a lot of white in them, do they?
Oh, okay.
So,
So
no.
would they be considered more of a shadow than those
You mean
underneath those
shade?
flowers there? Yeah, shade, yeah,
No,
okay.
no, I would, the flowers themselves, the white would be a tint. Now, the grass, if you're
Mhm.
looking at the grass, that's
Yeah.
not a tint. Because it doesn't look
It's
like
not
there's
a
really
shade.
any white mixed into it, right?
Okay.
Because the
Okay,
color is
I see what you're
one,
saying.
a little too intense.
Mhm.
Now it is grayed down somewhat, so it'd probably be closer to a tone, but it looks
Okay.
that rather than having gray mixed with it, it looks like it had the direct complement of red mixed into it to bring down the.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of his other work and it's very nice.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to, look at some more, like this piece right here. And, you know, again,
Yeah,
you know, really kind of very dynamic, you know, interesting compositions, really interesting use of color. He painted in kind of a very graphic sort of approach. If you start looking at the transitions of value, you know, across the figures, you know, he didn't do a lot of blending, you know. He kind of put this value down and this value down and that value down. See, yeah, he just put in like these patches of color, but they, you know, your eye takes and optically, you know, turns the form and blends them.
They look like they're glowing and luminous or something, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, when you look at the overall painting itself, yeah, the figures are glowing because of the intensity, you know, in comparison to everything else around it. See? You know, plus the fact that these are very generally warm in temperature in comparison to what's around them, which is all this blue, right? So because this is so cool in temperature, it pushes these and makes them look even warmer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then how about this? See, here's a very, very soft piece, right?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's this beautiful piece. And look, you know, there are no real strong darks in there. Are there? I mean, probably the darkest value that he has in there is probably about a number 6, number 7.
Mm.
And that's, you know, that's his strong dark. And then everything else is lighter from there. But there's also no really, really strong lights either, other than right here, here, and the flowers. And so he's, you know, he's kept the value ranges intentionally very close together to give it this kind of very soft kind of atmospheric feel to it. You know, he did kind of the same thing here. See, the value ranges aren't really as extreme there. And so it gives it this kind of like late afternoon light with these strong sort of cast shadows. Speaking of luminous. Now, it took me a while looking at this painting to really kind of figure out what's going on. But this painting is actually about the slaying of, you know, St. George slaying the dragon.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Where's the
yeah.
dragon? Oh, the dragon's in the
Right there.
right center.
Right
Right
there,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, there's St. George. Here's who he's rescuing, the princess, who's been chained to the rocks,
Oh,
right? Yeah, it took me,
He was painting,
pardon?
oh, I was gonna say, was he painting during the time of Art Nouveau?
Yeah, right around, probably a little after, actually,
Okay,
but still, they were doing a lot of things in that style. And you almost kind of miss these figures right here, the three figures.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Look how dark the skin tones are.
Just blend right into their clothes,
Yep.
except for the head pieces.
Yeah, so, he's got these characters here. They're not the thing he wants you to focus on. So what does he do? He subdues them.
Just darkens them down.
Yeah. Well, but he only darkened them because the things that they're close to tend to be very similar, right? And so
Mhm.
you see, they're there as kind of a second or third reading. The first reading is really, this big rock and, the light and the landscape, and then you pick her up and you kind of wonder, is that a big rock or is that a mushroom up there?
Yeah, I thought that was probably the dragon, and he was hovering over the woman.
Yeah, but no, the dragon's down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see,
And the
there's
knights
another.
in the silver.
Yeah, evidently it's a big spectator sport because, the three women here, and then you get, this whole group here, and then you get another couple of people down here. So must have been quite a day for everybody but the dragon.
Yeah. How big is the piece? Is it wall size?
I don't know, I would suspect,
Okay.
I would suspect that it's not really very, very big, when you look at the application of the paint,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless he was using like really, really big brushes, but I would say that this is probably no more than like 18 by 24 would be my guess.
Okay. Yeah, I like his work.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, he's got a lot of it's kind of strange stuff. But like this piece.
But it reminds me of Beardsley too.
Yeah. Yeah. It does in a way. It's got that really very graphic kind of, designed feel to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and his use of color, Beardsley didn't use color, he was basically black and white, but
Yeah.
but the colors are kind of out of that period of like Art Nouveau, Klimt and
Yeah.
a lot of the Art Nouveau artists, because they're kind of soft and their color system.
Glowing. Right.
That he's using. So, he definitely got some intensity out of the color there. And again, notice how he went about doing that. See, the color in here looks brighter and warmer and more intense because of the presence of the blue behind it. And you see here at the horizon line, anything above that, all these greens and everything else back here, they're all grayed back. They're all tones. They've
Yeah.
muted, every color back here, including the sky itself, so that it sits back behind this blue right here. And so, he's really pushed that illusion of depth and distance for you.
Yeah. The ocean the shoreline didn't quite work for me, but
Yeah.
between the two standing people.
Mhm.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah. Well, so you're saying right here, the blue here at the edge.
No, between the two standing
Oh, right
people in
here?
the middle. Yeah, that didn't quite work for me.
Mhm.
I know that's hard to do.
Yeah, he kind of almost created a tangent right here with the hat, because it kind of just cuts.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would have said,
brought it in more.
Yeah, just move that over a little bit so that that read more clearly a little bit.
Yeah.
Where? Yeah, then there's this piece. And
Oh,
again,
I like that.
really, really soft. You know, it's very graphic. You know, all the shapes and things are very clearly cut out. But overall, let's see, this is not the same thing. Yeah, we saw that.
Mhm.
All right, this piece. Now, this doesn't look like a finished piece. This looks more like a concept sketch to me.
Hmm.
Because it's not as, you know, not as precise, not as finished as a lot of those other stuff.
Well, it's good to see partial works of his work, you know, what he was doing.
Mhm. Yeah. Now here's again, you know, another one of those sort of religious themes.
Mm-hmm. And you saw this where? Was this in Chicago?
Well, I saw a painting of his, you know, when I was in Chicago. Not this,
Yes.
but it got me curious as to who he was, you know.
Yeah, I had never seen it either.
Yeah, because it was a really nice, you know, really nice, you know, piece of work that he had there in the museum. Now, evidently, you know, I mean, he did a lot of graphics for books and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
he's better known for his murals.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm,
These are all like big wall-sized panels,
mhm.
and evidently he did quite a few of them.
Call from Hawaii.
Here's another one.
What is that one called?
Psyche can bid her farewell on the mountaintop.
Oh,
I noticed that he's got the figures outlined.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah,
Is
almost
that
like
what you do in illustration?
yeah, kind of like a, well, that was a kind of a thing that a lot of the post-impressionists did,
Mm.
you know, was outline the work. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, a little bit of kind of like an illustrative type
Yeah.
approach or
Mhm.
style.
Yeah.
Here's a self-portrait of him.
I'm always amazed at people who can do self-portraits, you know.
yeah, they're difficult.
Yeah, and this is, well, okay, this is not the last piece. But out of all of these, I think this is one of my favorite pieces. You know, it's really just very kind of simplified, but the way he used and reversed, you know, the fields of light, you know, so all the lights in the background and everything closer to us here is in shadow. And notice that all the warm temperatures are here, all the cooler temperatures are in the foreground. Exactly the
It's
opposite.
very cold. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the opposite of what most people would do. But, you know, that's the thing that's so striking about it. Here's another one of these mural pieces that he did.
Wow. Yeah.
And that one seemed to relate to each other, where the other one would seem like just different pictures on the wall.
Mhm. Oh, you mean that bigger one? No, they were all, it was some kind of war theme. That's where did that go?
Yeah, that's
There you
one
are.
of the
I
first.
think it's that right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you see, well, I don't know. I guess these are all like hunters, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, so they're like fox hunting or something like that. And, you know, all the way across, you know, to the chapel. And then, of course, you've got the, you know, the brothers out in the front, you know, watching all the riders. Let's see where, oh, okay. Yeah, very kind of simplified landscape. But, you know, now this is, again, you know, you look at this and it's like, okay, it's a blue, but is it? Is it a blue? Is it a green? You know, it's a very warm blue.
Right.
Yeah. And all of the greens in here tend to be generally warmer, you know, except for a few exceptions. I love this piece too, you know, just the one of it. You know, the trees just sort of dance.
Here now, okay, I didn't see that first.
You know, nice stuff.
I didn't know so many people bathed naked in the ocean.
Okay, if you were in Europe around 1800, in fact, if you were in Europe in the 1970s, and particularly in Germany, you know, nudity in Germany is no big deal. Everybody, and I mean everybody, from the little kids all the way to the great grandmothers, you know, and grandfathers, all head down to the river, the clothes go off, everybody goes in. It ain't no big deal.
The same in the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, if you stay on the shore with your clothes, you're weird. You know, they don't think anything of it. It ain't no big deal. You know, it's like, hey, we all got one. You know, it's a body. Doesn't matter what age, what shape, big, small, whatever. It just like, nope, we're all going swimming. You know, and that was, you know, that was kind of the European attitude about it. You know,
A lot different than the US.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember, you know, we were formed as a Puritan society.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that's carried over into, you know, a lot of things about our culture. So anyway, that's all I got. Anybody got any thoughts about Maurice Dennis?
Interesting.
Yeah, I like his work. I'm looking through lots of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his posters that people are selling, but you still get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I really like his sense of color and, you know, the way he uses color. It's really nicely done. So
There's one I'm looking at right now. It's called Spots of Sunlight on the Terrace. That is really interesting.
yeah.
Talk about color. It's a lot of red oranges and then lighter oranges surrounded on the top by like a cave opening. It's black or dark brown.
And what's it called? Spots of sunlight on the
It
terrace?
is Spots of Sunlight on the Terrace.
Okay, I have to look that up after the class, I guess.
Now that one's very striking, the use of bright colors.
Okay.
A little bit out of his normal.
Well, you know, we saw a couple there. You know, he was not afraid of using color.
No, he wasn't.
So.
And then some of them get quite dark.
Yeah, either kind of very dark or very subdued. You know, very muted. You know, gray down, and soft in a way because everything kind of relates to each other.
Yeah, there was one I saw earlier. It was an homage to another artist. It was quite dark.
Anyway,
I have to say good night to everybody. I have
All right,
another
good night.
class.
Good
See you
night.
tomorrow,
Yes.
okay?
well, we'll
Have a
see you
lovely
guys in the
evening.
morning, we
All
hope,
right.
Okay.
Is it 10?
at 10
Bye-bye.
o'clock. Come with your pencils sharpened, okay?
All right.
All right. Yeah, we may.
Thanks a lot, Charles.
Yeah, we may do a couple of naked people tomorrow. So, okay,
Heck,
I'm just gonna
Down
warn
at the
you.
beach.
I'm just gonna warn you. Anyway,
uh-oh.
we'll see you all
Now-
tomorrow, okay?
Okay. Questions tomorrow, okay.
Yep, thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot,
Thank
Charles.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.